This is Nitha Ramachandra from the NR Sports Show. This is episode 857, alongside with one of our co-hosts, Kia Lyons, for the show. And we're joined by a really special guest. His name is Jonathan Dwyer Sr. He's a former NFL running back. He went to Georgia Tech for college. He played for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He played for the Arizona Cardinals. Now he's a trainer / coach, and he's helping these young kids out, which is amazing. First of all, Jonathan, how are you and your family doing today? And I just want to say thank you again for joining the show. It's truly an honor.
I mean, it's an honor just to be a part of this, this interview, and I'm excited about it. Just down here getting ready for high school football. That's what I'm coaching now. Mm-hmm. So we just had our own team camp this past week.
Oh, nice.
My kids are getting ready for their sports this upcoming fall and getting ready to go back to school. So there's a lot of good things going on around here.
That's awesome.
Nice. Jonathan, I'll start it off and I'll ask you, how does it feel now to be a coach helping the youth in a different position from the stresses of the NFL? It's very exciting, but now you have a leadership role working with the youth. How does that feel?
It's still stressful, but on a different level of stress. But it's fun. I enjoy coaching. I enjoy giving back to my community. This is my old high school that I'm coaching at. So this is my way of giving back. So at first it was kind of weird, seeing, I mean, my name's at different places around the school and stuff like that with other guys that have come to our school and played very good ball. So it was kind of weird at first, but now I'm used to it and I enjoy it very much.
Very cool.
So I want to start off with your childhood growing up, and obviously you went to college in Georgia Tech and you grew up in Georgia. So what was it like growing up as a kid, and what made you choose football? And did you have any like role models growing up that you looked up to?
The way I was introduced to football is a very funny story itself. My dad is from Jamaica. My mom is from the South.
Oh, wow.
They met in New York, and they moved down here so that I could be in a better situation living wise and being up in New York in the 80s during that time period. So moving down here, I got introduced to football just because soccer signups were closed, So my dad was a soccer player in college. My mom was a softball player in college. So my dad snuck me out there from football and kept it a secret for a while, for about 2.5 weeks, while my mom was pregnant with my brother. At first I hated it, but then, I got to hit someone for the first time, and, that feeling of excitement or that feeling of accomplishment just really changed the whole spectrum of the way I love the game. And football is my very first love, besides obviously, my parents, but the first thing I ever fell in love with.
Wow.
That's so interesting. Gary Brackett just said the same thing when he found out that he could hit someone and not get in trouble for it. It was like a game changer for him.
Yes. Yeah. So, my mom and dad aren't going to yell at me for it, but my mom yelled at my dad when she found out I was playing football, because she thought I was playing soccer this entire time for 2 weeks. So, she let my dad have it a little bit, but it all worked out in the end.
And so what did you love about the idea of tackling? Was it a release for you? Was it just, what did it feel like?
I don't know. At first, I think it was just fun. I think that's the beauty of the game, of when you find something that you really care about. It was just fun for me. I enjoyed playing. I enjoyed putting on my uniform. I enjoyed putting on the helmet. I felt like I was looking superhero in a way. Like I was putting on my, Superman outfit, and at the same time, I felt like, I looked like the guys that I watched playing, like Emmitt Smith, or looking like Marcus Allen, or looking like Eric Allen, or John Randall, putting the face paint on and, do little things like that kind of made the game just fun for me. And then after a while, it became more so of a passion and a love, and almost in a way of somewhat of an addiction. I just eat, sleep, breathe football.
That is such a great story for the youth and anyone really to hear, because at first you weren't interested, and then you were kind of brought into it, and then you ended up loving it and really excelling. That's awesome.
Right.
Yeah. So this is a two-part question. I want to ask you, now these days, these coaches love to play players in multiple positions, and in high school, did you play other than running back? Did you get to play multiple positions? Maybe on defense, obviously you tackle, but on defense and offense, like tight end or like a wide receiver? Did you get to do all that? And the next part to this question, take me back to your recruiting process, and what was it like just picking Georgia Tech, staying close to home, and having your family and friends visit you during the games?
But to answer the first question, I think the first position I ever played was safety.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I'm the fastest kid on the team. I was a great open field tackler. I guess it was natural for me because I didn't miss a lot of tackles. So, and no one really taught me how to take the right angles, but somehow I always did. And they figured I was just the best. And that's what I thought. That's what my parents thought my future was. That I was a defensive player. Mm-hmm. So happenly when I started running the ball was we were up by a lot in a game, and I was fastest kid in the team. So the coach was like, let's put Dwyer, let's put this kid in, and I got the ball and made some guys miss, and I didn't even know I did it. It was just natural. So it was just like, kind of everybody kind of saw what I could do, and from then on, I started playing both ways. So I've always been a two-way player until probably after my junior year in high school. I'll play sparingly on safety whenever they needed me, or when third down packages and things like that. But I was always a two-way guy, and I took pride of being a two-way guy, and had some teams in high school that recruited me as a safety as well, like University of Miami, which I kind of took personal at the time because I knew I was a running back by that time period. But and then the recruiting process, I think that I was going to go to the University of Florida. That was my main spot. Was going to play with eventual teammate Marquise Pouncey and his brother, and eventual teammate Christopher Rainey, and some other guys. But I guess the camaraderie that I received from the guys that went to Georgia Tech, like Morgan Burnett and Demarius Thomas and Derek Morgan and Joshua Nesbitt and Roddy Jones that you see on ESPN for AC Network and all those other guys. So it became a love, and we became friends, and we started to do this thing together.
Wow.
And did your high school coach visit with you?
Excuse me?
When you were getting recruited, did your high school coach visit with you? Did he travel with you to visit?
He went on a couple of visits with me to different places. He took me to the University of Florida, but majority of the time it was just me and my dad. My dad took me to any place that I was interested in. He ended up taking me to the University of Florida later at that time, but majority of the time it was just me and my dad.
That's a great dad. And then tell us about the NFL call and that experience.
It was a stressful time, but relieving time at the same time. Crazy stories that, in my parents' home, the place that usually but surprising things happen usually work out in my parents' bedroom in a funny way. When we all get together, we pray, and good events happen, from finding out test scores or finding out we did this or did that, or exciting moments for my mom when she graduated and got her insurance license, and promotions for my dad and other situations. So we said a prayer during that time period in my parents' room, and as soon as the prayer was ending, maybe like 2 or 3 minutes later, I got the call, and it was an exhilarating moment, exciting moment for my family, something that we talked about for a long time, and at the same time, it was just a relief at the same time as well.
That's such a great story. I have the chills. I love that. That was an answered prayer.
Yeah, definitely.
So I got to ask you, because Steelers are known for their running backs throughout their history. Obviously, you had Jerome Bettis, Merrill Hodge. You got Ike Redmond, yourself, Rashad Mendenhall. You go down the list, and you have great Steelers running back. And what was it like wearing that Steelers uniform, like the same one as Jerome Bettis and Merrill Hodge?
It was cool. It was my mom was a Steelers fan, so it was big for her and big for me as well. But I think the main thing is understanding what it meant to be a Steeler, the pride that they have for Steelers country, understand the responsibilities of being a Steeler, what it takes to be a Steeler, and what comes with it. You get a lot of attention. Some of it's just because you're a Steeler, not because of who you are. And it's, in a way, you're a rock star in a way because of how big the fan base is. And no matter where you go, people are going to recognize you. And you could be just a role player, and they're still going to recognize you and, hoot and holler for you. And so it was fun. Away games were crazy. How much would be in hotels
Yeah.
wherever we went, and we really didn't have any games where we were legitimately the away team, except for probably Baltimore, but other places, or in New England, big other teams that have big fan bases, places like that. But I remember games in Tampa or games in wherever, especially in the South. It was surprising to see how much fans we actually really had.
Jonathan, you had talked about feeling like a superhero when you started putting on your helmet and your different football apparel. How did it feel when you put on the Steelers outfit for the first time?
I think the first time was at a rookie premiere, and we were taking pictures for like the for our trading cards. And I think it hit me then, but then I think my first preseason game, when it was for real, and it was just like, this kind of emotional thinking, like, this is where I've always wanted to be. This is what I work for. This is what me and my dad have talked about, or I told my mom this is what I wanted to be when I was 5 years old. And, it was a crazy moment, exciting moment, and something I probably will never forget.
That's fantastic. I'd love to see the trading card too. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I want to ask you, when you go into the locker room in your rookie year and you see the roster, you played with a lot of great players in Pittsburgh. Ben Roethlisberger, obviously you had Hines Ward, Ike Taylor, Ike Redmond, Isaac Redmond, Ramon Foster, and like you said, Pouncey. And what was it like just playing with these veteran players? And obviously, I can't forget Coach Mike Tomlin, a heck of a coach in the NFL. And what was it like just being surrounded by veterans and experienced players like that?
I think it was more of I never really got too much of a shocked in people, like meeting people, or if I met a celebrity or whatever. Nothing really. I never really got starstruck, but I guess to see so many guys on one team, like during that time period, we had probably one of the most dominant teams in the league, and especially our defense. You look across and see, on defense, you see Troy, you see
James Harrison.
You see James Ferrier, who's a distant cousin for me. You see, Lamar Woodley, a good friend of mine, and Ike Taylor, and all these players, and look on the offense, you see Hines out in the slot, you see Heath Miller, you see obviously you're playing with Ben and all these other players, and it's kind of like, holy crap, like I'm a Steeler, and you're around all these people, and then you see the things that they do and see all these crazy plays and all that. So it's pretty cool and exciting. It's a question I get a lot. And it was just like, hopefully just, try to find out if I, really just trying to find out if you belong. And then once I got out there and started making some plays and realized like I can play with these guys.
We just recently did a training camp with some of the Bucs coaches, Nathan and I did. And last week I caught a great interview with Bruce Arians. And I just was interested. In 2014, he was coaching the Cardinals. What was it like having him as a coach, and what did you learn from him? How was that experience?
I mean, I had a relationship with BA when I got drafted. He was the offensive coordinator in Pittsburgh when I got drafted.
Oh, wow.
So
BA was a friend of mine. We still talk here or there every now and then, check up on each other. But I think the biggest thing with BA was he was always real, and you always knew where you stood. I'm not gonna say my nickname on the interview because it was explicit, but that was my nickname for a year. But he was constantly on me because he knew he saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. And if he's constantly on you, or you have a nickname and he's calling you a turd, or he's calling you this type of nickname, that means he cares and he wants you to keep going, and he wants you to get better, and he believes in you. And he did the same thing for me. And then as soon as free agency hit in Arizona, he was the first person to call me.
Wow. Okay.
That's great. Yeah, it seems like he's really is a wonderful, wonderful coach and person from the interview. That's amazing.
He's a great guy.
Love to hear it.
Yeah. So actually, I want to ask you, you guys were in the AFC champion in 2010. You won the AFC champion. What was it like playing in playoff games? And obviously, you guys, especially in Pittsburgh, your fan base, I think, is one of the best because they always wave those towels in the playoff games. And what was it like being in the AFC Championship game that year?
It was a crazy experience. I mean, that was one big moment, but there's a lot of crazy moments playing in Steelers country. Fans were nuts. City was probably the closest thing that you get to a college experience. Because usually most college games are bigger and louder than most NFL games. So the roar of their stadium is probably the closest thing I ever seen to a college game. And packed out games in Arizona were pretty wild too.
From going back to the superhero comment one more time, this is coming to me. I want to hear about, so when someone's a superhero, usually it's because you take the time to be kind to them. You have this role of being a great NFL player, but because you take time to see what the greatness in someone and then inspire more greatness that they don't see themselves, like you said about Bruce, how does that feel? And what advice do you most give the youth when you inspire them and be their hero?
How it felt for me was it was the biggest thing in the world, hearing it from it was a coach, whether it's my father, my dad, saw us, my dad saw a lot in me that I definitely didn't see myself. And as I got older, I appreciated him for challenging me constantly, not nitpicking, but in a way, just constantly knowing that I could be better and always challenging me. And then getting with a coach like Mike Tomlin, who exerted the same thing, and Kirby Wilson, running back coach, exerted the same thing. And our running back coach my freshman year, Georgia Tech, Curtis Botkins, who's at Denver, doing the same thing. And I try to do the same thing with my kids now that I coach. I got a few guys that are very talented players, and they don't see the greatness in themselves. And sometimes they need that extra nudge from somebody to open up their eyes and see how special they actually are. So I try to challenge them each and every day, try to give them a few gems here and now, and constantly stay on them. Sometimes they need tough love. Sometimes they need put your arm around their shoulder and just talk to them. Yeah. And you just got to know as a coach and as a leader just how which person reacts to certain different things and how you can get them to realize how special they are.
That's so great. That's so important. I'm so glad that you're doing that.
Yeah. So I want to ask you about your free agent process. And obviously, did you ever think in your mind that you could have stayed with one team in Pittsburgh? But obviously, everybody knows that NFL is a business. And just take me through your process, because sometimes for players, it can be tough being a first-time free agent. And for you, what was it like just getting that call right away from Bruce Arians from Arizona to have you back to play with him? How grateful are you in that position? And just take me to the process.
Yeah. It was. I think it was kind of. I mean, it was a lot. I know. I think it was less stressful than the draft, but it was just wondering where you would go, and there was a few teams there, and I could have went back to Pittsburgh too, but I think it was time for me to move on. I knew Bruce Arians' playbook was pretty similar to what we did in Pittsburgh already, so I knew that he was going to give me every opportunity in the world. As soon as I walked in, I knew the playbook. I was a veteran in the running back room. He looked at me as a leader to lead the guys and coach them up at the same time. And I did the same things that Rashard and Isaac and other players did with me when I first got there. So, and the same thing I did for Le'Veon when he first got there, and just constantly helping them out and improving my game at the same time, and knew that was the best fit for me.
What's one of your favorite NFL moments?
Probably my first start. Funny situation, not funny situation. We were just banged up in the running back room, and I was coming back from being banged up a little bit, and coach came in. I was just doing a workout after a Thursday night game on Friday, and we lost. And Coach Tomlin, I guess he knew I was in the building or something, came and found him and says, "It's your show this week." And he said, "But just take advantage of it." And I told him, I promise you I will. And I made sure I did. Got my second 100-yard game, and got player of the game, and made sure that I was going to represent myself and represent Steelers Nation and the name of my back for sure.
That's awesome.
So now I want to talk about your Arizona career. Obviously, you got to play a lot with a lot of great players there too, with Larry Fitzgerald, Ted Ginn Jr., who just recently retired. So I want to ask you about Ted Ginn real quick, because what was it like being his teammate, and what a great player. He's known for his speed, and obviously he can do a lot of great things as a receiver. And what was it like being his teammate, and what did you reach out to him when he retired?
Yeah, I really talked to Teddy two, 3 days ago. I think when he was, I don't know if it was the day he retired or the day before.
Mm-hmm. I think it was the day before. Yeah.
Yeah. So he decided to hang it up and was just like, he called me big fella. He was the only person that was allowed to call me that. So I was, hey, big fella, it's my time, and enjoy this retirement thing and just be with my family. And I told him I was proud of him. He was a great teammate, great guy. Had a great relationship with him. I mean, the guy's elsewhere. I think Larry still in debate of what he wants to do, but probably the best hands I've ever seen. Carson Palmer, Pat's still playing, Tyron's still playing. It's two of the most exciting DBs the game has ever seen. And during that time period was probably the best athletic secondary I've ever seen during my time in Arizona.
Yeah, so
Go ahead.
So just to follow up, because you played with my boy Camaraderie. I had him on the show last year, Antonio Camaraderie. What a great player, and it was an honor talking to him. What was he like seeing the defense play, and what was he like? What was he like as a teammate in Arizona? Because he's a ball hawk when it comes on defense.
He was. I mean, from a standpoint of a teammate, me and him just joked around a lot. So it was more so like, joking around, laughing, talking about our kids. It's funny because I know his Antonio Camaraderie Jr.
Yeah,
He's out here in Atlanta. See him every now and then, and he's always like, watch out. You see AJ, take care of him, and things like that. So, I think our relationship was more of a joking, laughing relationship. He was a great talent. He was like, one of those big corners that you don't really ever see. And the fact that he was fast as well. So he was a great teammate. It was sad it was only just for 1 year.
I love to hear about the camaraderie. Tell me how it was going into rookie camp, or just the NFL going pro, the camaraderie and the fellowship then versus, later on going to the, from the Steelers to the Cardinals and having more experience. How did that compare, the camaraderie and the fellowship?
I think year after year it just changed. Beginning you're just kind of being talked to. Just kind of keep your head down and work and do your rookie duties. Buying this, buying that.
Mm-hmm.
They tell you clean this up and clean it up. Just kind of just work hard and don't cause too much trouble. From a standpoint of, as years went on in Pittsburgh, just my role started changing, and starter and being a mentor and those type of things, just helping rookies out whenever I talked to or met or whatnot. Then as I went to Arizona, it was definitely an older veteran role, and it's kind of just was there whenever they need me, and just at the same time still working like I was a rookie and still trying to find myself. But at the same time, having that older mentality, knowing certain things, just giving tips and telling them how to read this, how to read that, and just being more of a teacher at the same time.
That's great. That brotherhood's so key.
Yeah, it's making those obviously sacrifice. I actually, you know what? Here's a good thing. So obviously everybody knows the Bucs won the championship yesterday or 2 days ago, and these players brought up sacrifice. Every interview I saw, I watched every post-game interview after that game. Each player brought up sacrifice. How important is sacrifice for you guys in sports? Because that's the main word in sports right now.
Yeah.
I think sacrificing is very important, because in order to, that's not just in sports, but in life.
Yeah.
My dad taught me about sacrifice in a way of just understanding that, if you want to succeed in things, some things you have to give up certain things, whether it's going out with the fellas, whether it's you know, getting on that diet or whatever it may be, you know, it's just about, you know, if you want to achieve something, you're gonna have to give something up at the same time, and be willing to take that. Knowing that if you take that sacrifice, there's always something positive coming in at the end of the tunnel. Yeah. It's a matter of, you know, are you willing to sacrifice that one thing or whatever, it's two things, whatever it is, for the ultimate goal at the end.
And we definitely professional sports players make a lot of sacrifices, and everyone in life, like you said, there is sacrifice. What is your key to balance, to peace and personal balance? What's some of the keys to your success?
I would say prayer more than anything.
Awesome.
Constantly praying, staying tired, you know, asking advice from my parents. You know, I still ask advice from my parents all the time, whatever it is. If I can't figure it out myself, I'm going to ask.
Yeah.
And understanding it's okay to ask questions. It's okay to ask for help. Don't think that you're not a man or you're not an adult knowing that you can't figure things out yourself. I mean, everybody has someone that they look up to, someone that they have. I mean, Bill Gates has someone he mentored or someone that he looked up to growing up, or Steve, et cetera. So, you know, there's always someone there that's helped someone reach their ultimate goal. So I think that's probably the biggest thing. And still be, you know, in a way young, have fun, enjoy life, don't take anything for granted, spend time with my family, spend time with friends whenever I can,
right.
And just, you know, at the same time, let loose, at the same time, just relax and enjoy everything, and not let everything be too serious, but at the same time, take advantage of my opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
That's great advice.
Yeah, so now looking back at your career, and obviously you had a great career, over 1,000 rushing yards. So how grateful are you to be in this position to play the game that you love, play with Georgia Tech, the Steelers, Cardinals, play with great players, great coaches, obviously played in the AFC Championship Game, ACC Player of the Year. How grateful are you to be in this position, to be able to share your story and experiences when you coach these kids in the high school team?
I knew that I always wanted to coach. From a very, you know, from a standpoint of knowing, I knew that I could give back. I always like being around kids. I always enjoy talking to them and giving them advice. I always enjoy sharing my words of encouragement and whatnot. Mm-hmm. I do the same thing with my son all the time. He probably is annoyed with me. All the lessons I try to teach. Yeah. I just try to do the same thing my dad did for me, right. And plus more. That's just what my dad taught me to, you know, give back to, you know, JJ, what I gave to you plus more. Mm-hmm. So I'm always, you know, teaching. I'm always giving advice. I'm always using an example. I'm always challenging him as well. The same thing I do with my kids that I coach with, do the same as well.
Nice. And how, when you want it, what's some of your main drives when you achieve your own personal goals now?
Honestly, my personal goals is, in a way, I do have my own personal goals, but my goal really is just to help these kids.
Yeah,
you know,
that's awesome.
Put them in better situations that they were in. By the time they leave our school, they're obviously graduating. They're going to school, whether it's academically or athletically or both, you know, and just helping them, give them the blueprint of how to be successful, and hopefully they, you know, take it and grab it and run with it and never look back in a way. And then hopefully they do the same thing for the next person, the next person, the next person. So that's really what I get excited about. I get it when one of our kids gets an offer, and you know, seeing his joy in his face and remember what that feeling was. See my son, you know, take the next steps in his life and what he loves in sports. You know, he's lives and dies sports, and he just is addicted to it. And you know, seeing him, when I see him get excited when he does something well, and those are my, you know, personal achievements more than anything. And you know, I know my times will come, and you know, obviously I'll take steps in this coaching world, and whenever it's my time, God's in control of all that. So whenever it's my time, I'll be excited as well. But it's always on to the next thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And legacy, you're right. Legacy, the youth, it's so special. It's so key. When we did a couple different NFL camps with the youth, and just to see their faces of someone believing in them, and just that joy of them saying, you think I can do it? And then they do it. And it's just, it's priceless. And it's just, you're leaving a legacy. It's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's most important for sure.
Actually, one of the camps we did was with Isaac Redmond, and we met him in person. It's awesome to see, because you and Isaac are examples of true role models for these kids, and for you guys to be coaches now and just sharing your experience. It's amazing to see former players be coaches and now helping these kids out to reach to their goals. It's amazing to see. So.
Yes, I would love to come to one of your camps, because to see Isaac, it's like you witness heroes. It's incredible. It's so moving.
Yeah, I would love you guys. I mean, you got to understand, the children, they're our future. They are of our world, and we're building good people, creating people how to lead the right way. I think our environment and our world's in the better hands. So I think that's the main thing. I think it's, what our problem is today. There's not enough people teaching. There's not enough people giving them the perfect advice, and instead of just saying yes, a bunch of yes people to say yes, you could do this, instead of just same time, you have to be real and be honest with them at the same time. And sometimes they may not want to hear it, but they'll respect it in the long run.
Right. And creating those community centers too, so that there's children who have adults that can say, hey, you should go to this event, because you're going to get a chance. Someone's going to believe in you. You know what I mean? Because they don't always get it at home. So it's just so special that you guys offer that.
Yes.
I thank you for doing that, because it's the best.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you again. And now here comes the fun part for the show. We usually do this fun little segment called the rapid fire segment. You ready for this?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. I guess I'll start off here first. So I'm officially on Kawhi Leonard free agency watch 2021. So this is my first one here. Kawhi Leonard's laugh or Kevin Hart's laugh?
Say that one again.
Kawhi Leonard's laugh or Kevin Hart's laugh?
Probably Kevin Hart's laugh, because it makes me laugh.
Favorite movie?
Oh, Friday.
Oh.
Nice.
All right. Obviously, one of your former teammates, his name is Antoine Randall L. So I have a lookalike for him. I don't know if you agree with this. He looks like Charles Woodson a little bit.
I maybe. I don't know. Seawood has this whole goatee looking thing, so I can't see it.
Jonathan, you can go anywhere on vacation right now. Where are you going?
Back to my dad's hometown, Jamaica.
Nice. Never been. That's awesome. I'd love to go.
All right, so you play with two great coaches, and Mike Tomlin and Bruce Arians. I'm going to put you on the spot. Who's more of a yeller, who's more laid back?
Oh, that's an easy question. I mean, Bruce is probably more laid back now because he's a little older, but definitely be Mike is more chill and more laid back.
I love that. I love it. I'm just thinking about the BA. Like, that's just, he is 100% BA as well.
Yes.
He's awesome. And I'm just going to say that without the superlatives. Now, tell me, what is your favorite food?
Ooh, probably just soul food, just Southern cuisine, just, Southern hospitality food.
Nice.
Favorite memorable game that you played with the Steelers and Cardinals?
Steelers definitely have to be Baltimore with me and Charlie Batch, going in a hostile environment, winning that one. Cardinals, probably my first touchdown in Arizona and versus the Giants.
Funniest teammate?
Funnest teammate?
Funniest.
Oh, funniest.
Funniest? Oh, man.
You can go with funnest, too. That would be
funniest, I can't put an exact name. I mean, the list can go on. I mean, I go from Tony Jefferson, Arizona, Pittsburgh. AB was funny.
AB.
Mayor Sanders was a funny guy. Probably, I don't know. I can't think of Pittsburgh. We had some characters, so it's kind of up and down. Can't really pick one.
Yeah.
Those are good examples.
Hey, speaking of AB, obviously he's been through a lot throughout his career. And what was it like seeing him win his obviously Super Bowl ring in Tampa Bay last year?
I was excited for AB. This just shows a success of going through adversity.
Yeah.
He's been through a lot, whether it was done to himself or he put in the wrong situations. He prevailed through it. And AB's a great dude. He's a great teammate. He did some cool things for me. Did things for me when my son was born, and always looked out. We always looked out for each other. We were both drafted in the same class, so we worked out together in Miami. So it was just like, that was my guy, and I'm happy that he's doing well. With more so not just on the field, but who he is off the field now.
Yeah, I agree. I'm so happy for him as well. Do you have reunions with the guys? Do you have get-togethers that you guys actively plan?
We talk more so than we can get together, especially since the pandemic last year.
Yeah.
I would say the person I talk to the most is my old fullback, Will Johnson. We talk a lot. And I just check in with guys here or there. They check on me. Like me and RC talk a lot. Ron Foster, a couple other guys. But I would say the guys I talk to the most is obviously my college teammates, because we actually lived together and we did a whole bunch of crap together. So
That's awesome.
So what's a scouting report on your son?
On my team?
Yeah. No. Scouting
fly
report.
Around. We're very.
Oh no, I said what's your what's your scouting report on your son? Is he a running back too, or?
He's a perimeter guy. He's a perimeter player. He can run routes. He can catch the ball very well. He's very tall for his age. People think he looks like he's about 10, but he's only going into third grade.
Wow.
So, he's a long, fast, athletic. Plays baseball as well, but very aggressive. He's a very he likes to run through people's faces, as he says. So he's not scared from contact. He likes to tackle. He likes to be aggressive. So fly around. He's the light years ahead of a lot of other kids from a standpoint of
that's awesome.
Knowing how to play the game. Like he sits down and watches film. With me, when I'm watching film, he's asking questions and asking what cover 3 is or what cover 2 is, and trying to learn. And it's intriguing for me. I don't really push it. So I try to just be, just laid back dad, but he pushes it himself, and that's what makes me proud more than anything.
Well, the next NFL star in the making.
That's got to be so fulfilling. We saw Isaac's son is around the same age, and I said, look, he looks like he's ready for the NFL right now, Isaac. And I bet your son's the same way. It sounds like he's really mentally into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, me and Red talk from time to time. I tell Hayden's special. Jay's he's getting there. He joined the game a little later than Hayden, but he's working on his offensive game more than anything. But his defensive game is, like I said, he's very, very smart. He knows keys and he knows how to read things and stuff that you can't really teach. So he's a great tackler, great tackler, and he takes pride in it. So he's constantly wants to work on his game and always wanting to throw the ball around. Dad, can we train? Can we do this? So we're working on it.
Well, I'm saying congrats, because they don't always follow in our footsteps. And when they do, that's just such a blessing that just keeps on giving to you. So congrats that you have that interest and that connection with him. That's so special.
Oh, thank
you.
Yeah. It is. Good. Thank you.
So I'm a big Dallas Cowboy fan, and I want to get your take on Zeke. I want to get your take on Zeke, because Zeke looks fantastic in camp right now. He's working hard, and they said he's in the room early than anybody else right now. So do you think he can have a bounce back season for us, Zeke?
Honestly, I think he had a bad season last year compared to what he's done before. But in all reality, kind of like that Aaron Rodgers effect. Like, because he had one bad year, but someone else that might have been a career year. that type of mentality. But I think Zeke's a great player. I think he runs hard. I think that what messed him up was not having Dak last year. So all the pressure goes on him. The offensive line was very inconsistent. So I think that he'll have a great year. He keeps running the way he runs, being physical, running downhill, not being that intimidating guy that he is. I think he'll be perfectly fine. I think that he's one. To me, people are very disrespectful to him and saying he's not a top 5 or even top 10 running back. I think he's still a top 10 running back. And I think if he plays his percent plays well, he's definitely a top 5 running back for sure.
Let's go. All right, so before we get to the last 2 things, I want to ask you something really important. And so this year the NFL is going to do the Black National Anthem for the social injustice. I just want to get your take on this. How do you think this is now another step moving into the right direction?
I think so. I think that it's a good thing. Alexa wants to talk right now, but I think it's a great opportunity for us to take that next step. I think the main thing for us is honestly just keep showing the people it's that the stuff is actually happening. It's not just some stuff where people are just making up and whatnot. And I wish that these things were seen beforehand, but I think sometimes bad things have to happen for people to really realize what's going on. And hopefully, I enjoy Mr. Goodell listening to the players, listening to the committee. People that are in his corner like Jay-Z and other people that are giving him the right advice and taking that next step of where we need to be. But we're still a long ways away from where we need to be.
Right. So the last 2 things here, our team is part of this foundation. It's called the Hugh Jackson Foundation. He's a former NFL coach, but now he's the offensive coordinator at Tennessee State with Eddie George. We're trying to help him prevent human trafficking, making sure the community stays safe and the kids stay safe. So I'll send you the foundation so you can go check it out. And
most definitely. I'll definitely check it out and share it.
Yeah, thank you. And the last thing here, would you like to say anything to all the nurses, doctors, and essential workers right now?
I would say, thank you for all that you're doing. Thank you for sacrificing the things that you're doing, sacrificing being with your families and loved ones near and far, and your work doesn't go unnoticed. My aunt's as a nurse and practitioner, so I applaud her every single time I talk to her, and know that she's working her ass off and doing what she needs to do, and we appreciate all the things that they're doing at the same time. And without them, I don't, where would we be? And from friends that I know that have had COVID, and so old teammates and things like that. So glad that they're okay. Great, thank you for the staff and working their butts off and bringing the people that we love back to us.
Yeah, well said. And tell her we said thank you.
Yes.
Almost definitely. I'll tell her.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on today, Jonathan. This has been awesome.
Yeah, thank you again, and
we appreciate you.
Thank you. Just let me know when you come to Atlanta.
Yeah, we will.
Yes.
We will actually. We like to come to one of your events too, so that would be awesome. But thank you again for coming on. This wraps up episode 857. With former NFL running back, Georgia Tech running back Jonathan Dwyer Sr. Now he's a coach, trainer for the high school team. But thank you again for coming on. We would like to have you back as a returning guest so you can meet the full team. But keep up the great work, man. Keep helping these kids out. It's amazing what I'm seeing, and you and your family stay safe.
I appreciate it. Thanks for the opportunity. Thank you, guys. Keep doing what y'all doing. This is great.
Thank you.
Podcast. I'll definitely love to be back on.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks, Jonathan.
No problem.
Thank you.
No problem.